So what's going on, y'all? It's me, Troy, and of course I'm here with the video. I'm outside in nature. I guess I'm doing a vlog. It really was unintentional, but I said, listen, I've been wanting to do a wrap-up video of the month of February, and well, I guess now's a good enough time to do it. Something different, right? I'm at a creek. I'm actually at work. So what did I read in February is why I'm here. I did read every single book that I presented on my February TBR at the end of last month, and I enjoyed just about every single one of them. So I'm gonna make this kind of quick. It's not gonna be too much in detail because, like I said, I'm at work and I'm out in nature and I want to enjoy this moment more than anything. It's just an opportunity, and I sound congested because I battled a minor cold over the weekend, and I'm just getting over it. So the first book that I did read was The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve, which I thought was amazing. Of course, as I said, it was about a young boy named Robert and his sister Gloria during the 1950s or so, who find themselves in a predicament in which they are split apart from not only their mother who died, but as well as their father and each other. Because what happens is this: Robert defends his sister as it regards the advances of a white neighbor, and that subsequently leads him to the Reformatory, which is an all-boys school that has a very dark, twisted history. Per the synopsis, the school is filled with ghosts, and incidentally, Robert is sort of like The Shining. He can kind of see ghosts or whatever, but the point is that his abilities are used, and that's where the story kind of blossoms forward. So I can't really go into details about it because I'm trying to make this quick, and I have to say that I really did enjoy that book. Now, it had a lot of potential in some other areas to be something to go just a little bit more underneath the surface of what the story was about, as it had the ability to address that particular time period. I don't think it really did a thorough job of explaining, this is a situation of a young black boy that's being introduced into this system and how horrible it is, and how from a bureaucratic, that's what I'm trying to get to, bureaucratic point of view, how he can be successful at him and his family are leaving themselves of him being in this place. So it didn't really go into that. It had the potential of doing so. It was much more of a thriller, which is okay because it's kind of categorically horror. So it kind of ended on just like a thrillerish kind of note. But as far as like injecting actual history and bureaucratic concepts and ideas and notions, especially as it regards civil rights, and this boy being basically abused in this space of abuse of a lot of black boys, it really didn't go too far into that. Now, it was there, but it didn't have all that. So that's the thing. I think that's the quick note, is it was missing a little bit more of that bureaucratic intention. So after that, I did read The Fury by Alex Michaelides or something. That book was exactly what I thought it was going to be about, because the synopsis has to do with these two actresses. They are pretty much rivals, and they are jealous of each other, with a man, of course, in the middle of all that jealousy. It was exactly, there's a lot of twists and turns. It was exactly what I thought it was going to be in terms of melodrama. I don't like to read a lot of books when it comes to actresses and dramas and plays. I just really can't get into it, but it did have a Agatha Christie-esque flair to it, which was very much intentional. But the main protagonist, or the narrator of the story, was a guy, I think his name was Elias, and he had the history of being not only of a sociopath in a small minor sense, but he's also a writer or an actor or an entertainer, person of his own accord. He's friends with both of the ladies, and there's that guy in between. So he narrates a story, but despite it being exactly what I thought it was going to be, the thing that I did enjoy about the book is actually being able to see into the narrator's point of view, as he examined each of the characters and the circumstances. They're on this island and somebody's murdered. Yeah, okay. And he examining their point of view from the standpoint of a writer. There's a lot of little undercurrent nuggets, I guess you can say, of psychology planted into the story, as you seeing it through his eyes, both psychology, philosophy about human nature. And even I think my favorite parts is how he regarded the unfolding of the story as a outsider but insider at the same time from a writer's technical point of view. So I really enjoyed that part, but otherwise the book was exactly what I thought it was going to be. The next book that I read was the Great Miss Elias, or is it Elias, by Barbara something Chase. What can I say about that book? I love that book. I did love that book. It has to do with this woman who was born in the late 1800s in Philadelphia. At the early turn of the century, she moved to New York and became a wealthy multimillionaire. And a lot of her wealth came from, which I did say, the stock markets in my TDR, but not only that, but she was a madam. She she learned how to run a few madam houses, okay? But anyway, the story is based off an actual woman named Hannah Elias. And, I think that I really don't, because I don't know about this woman in actuality, I don't have something to kind of pair. I don't know where the line between her fictional story and her actual story comes together. But I will have to do some more research in that area. Why are they calling me? Y'all chill out. We in danger. But I have to find out how to find that divide there. So although I enjoyed the story from its fictionalized standpoint, as Hannah Elias was a character who went through a lot, who'd been through a lot and overcame a lot, I was still left trying to gauge how much of it is real that I rather explore, and how much of it was fictionalized that I could just take for what it was. But there's a lot, of course, say about that book, and I did enjoy it. It was one of my favorite. Well, I mean, it was good. It was good. I don't want to say favorites right now because I really enjoyed my overall reading of February. But yeah, that was a good book. We'll just leave it at that. Next, I did read The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Really, I don't have a lot to say about it because it's been spoken about time and time again, and I'm kind of cool with that. I enjoyed The Hobbit. Did I say The Hobbit? I meant The Fellowship of the Rings, the first book in the Lord of the Rings series. Yeah, I did enjoy it. I finally read that book. And I really don't have a lot to say about it because I enjoyed it. It did satiate that appetite that I had for fantasy, for characters who are on the road trying to go on there's the hero's journey. They're on the road running into a variety of different circumstances that they have to overcome. Then underneath that is all the political drama when it comes to a fantasy, as well as the mounting world building, just all of that stuff. Especially, I love how the core thing has to do with just like a singular ring that has all this power. But I think what's going on here is because I'm so in tune, but not with the actual movie, that I could see a lot of what was taking place based off of my experience watching the movies. But it's really when it comes to book 2 and 3 where I'm going to get into the weeds, or when watching the movies, I was in the weeds and not quite understanding what was taking place. But I cannot wait to read the second book and the third book to actually understand exactly what was going on in the first 2 movies. Although they're not what they're not the core of I'm not orbiting all of my thoughts around the movies. I'm trying to experience the books for myself. But that's what I'm saying. It's like I could follow along with the movie and book in connection, in parallel with one another, of the first book. But I know that, like I said, with the second and third movies, I was in the weeds, I was lost, and I don't have a lot of recollection of what actually took place. So I can't wait to get that story through the actual source material within itself. So that's what I'm leave there. So lastly, I am on the last 70 pages of Madness by Antonia Hyman. And I am really liking this book. It has to do with the Crownsville mental asylum built in the early 1900s by black patients themselves. I'm enjoying this book. Now, and it's telling the story. The only thing I can say about it as a nonfiction book is I'm having a lot of difficulties with the narrative flow. I really like my nonfiction books to have like a narrative flow to them, sort of like storytelling, but through the perspective of the author or some but actual historic individual that she's telling the story of. But it really isn't flowing like I hope. And I think that may just be my much more meticulous nature, because a lot of times I'm looking for some continuity in terms of here we are addressing the issues of the hospital in the 1940s, and then we're jumping to the 1970s, and then all of a sudden we're going back to the 1940s and addressing something that I feel like should have been addressed or spoken about, incident or anecdote that should have been spoken about in an earlier chapter. Yeah, that kind of gets on my nerves. Like, I just really wish it would just go straight down the line in continuity. Here's this situation in the 40s, the 50s of the hospital, the 60s, and of course the gradual changes that took place as the hospital came along. But what I do enjoy about the book is, although it has its fair amount of depravity, it's not really that. It doesn't focus too much on that. Instead, it focuses a lot on the once again bureaucratic and legislation and even political implications that came about when owning that hospital, when running that hospital, and of course the subsequent problematic nature or whatever have you that came into contact with a lot of the black patients. There is a lot of very insightful passages in that book, though. Stuff that really just made me go, okay, it's nothing of a shock, but at the same time, it's just like, damn, like, yeah, didn't nobody give a damn about us, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things that come to mind, and I don't have the book in front of me, it's actually in the car, and I plan on reading it while I'm out here. It had to do with, there it is. It had to do, what really drove me crazy is that there was a lot of course, complaints and criticisms about how the hospital was ran, and the actual white students or nurses were complaining that they weren't getting the full lesson or education in regards to caring for people with mental illness because they were taking care of black patients. So in essence, what they were saying is if they were taking care of the white patients at the white hospitals, they would be getting the full grasp and, like I said, understanding and knowledge of what it means, or education as it concerns taking care of mentally ill people. I was like, what? That's like, y'all. So we got to have all that too. We got to carry that too. We got, what I'm saying? Like, we had to carry that too. But anyway, there was a lot of those little nuggets of information in that book. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like I said, the continuity thing is really not, it kind of drives me crazy. And then there's like these little anecdotes of personal stories in regards to the author that kind of more or less I can't see reflect to the overarching topic that we're talking about in that specific area of the book. But it's still a great read, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm enjoying it. It was a great nonfiction book for the month of February for me. So anyway, guys, that is it. I'm ready to go eat. I enjoyed having you guys out here. I am so sorry if I was rambling or repeating words and stuff, because I really wanted to make this on the freaking fly. It's on the fly, and I'll probably try to edit it down to something when I get home. But I did want to make I really did wanted to make a minor wrap-up video for the month of February, because it was on my mind, and by the time I get home, I'm not gonna feel like doing anything. So thank y'all so much, and I'm gonna get back to work, do some documentation, and then probably just chill out here and read some more of madness. That'll close out February. So peace. Thank y'all for joining me out here in the creek. Isn't it so peaceful? I'm gonna jump. Ooh, my lips, child.